Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Welcome to r/TodayIF, the sub with, hands down, some of the best and funniest stories on Reddit. I've been looking over the last couple of weeks to find the best posts from recent times. Hopefully, I won't disappoint you today, and I particularly like this first one by user/THEDODOMENACE. For reference, OP is a 19-year-old guy. So, it all started around a week ago, when some girls in my friend group came together and started drinking. They started boasting about their butts, and next thing you know, they wanted to do a best butt competition. I wasn't there, so I don't know the details, but we were sent a message in a group chat. Rules were simple. If you wanted to join, you just had to send a pic of your butt to this certain girl, who would present them anonymously to 8 guys, and they would all vote for the picture of the best butt. Well, I thought it would be funny to join, but I knew that they wouldn't take it seriously, because my butt is naturally extremely hairy. So, I did the most logical thing at the time. I shaved it. I took the shaving equipment I normally use for my face, switched the knives, and went ham. Well, this is where the first problem came in. And you would expect OP to totally somehow mutilate his backside and not be able to sit for a month, but that's not what happens, so let's read on. The stupid person that I am didn't lock the door. My mum walked in on me shaving my butt. She just awkwardly wiggled away, and I turned extremely red. She didn't say anything, so I thought she would just ignore it. Well, she didn't. She started Googling. That evening, she asked me to come to the dinner table to talk. My father ran away, so I knew it would be bad. But I didn't expect it to be that bad. She wanted to talk about intercourse safety in a homosexual relationship. Keep in mind, I'm not actually gay. She was extremely well prepared. Highlights of that evening were practicing with a condom and a cucumber, the dangers of gay without lube, and a brief summary of objects that I should definitely not put in my butt, such as lamps and beer bottles. She would not listen to any of my denying, and would just say, "It's okay, your dad and I still love you." Oh no. This is so bad. Imagine this happening to you, but it gets even worse, if you can believe that. I thought the worst was over, so I sent a picture of my shaven butt to the girl that was collecting them. 2 days later, the 9 pictures of all the contestants were sent, all without any distinguishable features, to the 8 boys. So, one thing you should know is that I do have quite a good butt. I got pretty good genes in that aspect, and I've been skating since I was 14. I now skate around 60 k's a week, and skating is an incredible way to get a firm, round butt of decent size. You can probably see where this is going. I won with a total of 5 out of 8 votes. 1 picture got 2 votes, and 1 got 1. The fallout from this was not that big. Some of them were prideful girls wanted to start some drama, but they didn't want to admit their butt loss to a boy. I didn't talk a lot with them anyway, and the virus makes drama a little more difficult. So that was simply ignored by most of us. Our mixed-gendered trip to a lake when lockdown would end did end up turning into a guys-only trip, as some of the girls suddenly didn't really feel like going, and the rest didn't want to go to a lake with such a one-sided girl-boy ratio. I do want to say that most of the girls did think it was hilarious on some sort of level, and the ones that didn't are famous in our group for being extremely prideful. It is, however, extremely awkward to talk with most of them, as they now look at my butt quite frequently. It doesn't stop with this, by the way. I was gaming with my friends today, and we started talking about the butt competition. We kept it anonymous which butt was from what person, and the people that voted didn't know who won yet, and I didn't know who the guys that voted were. Well, the guy I was gaming with happened to be one of the people voting. He said he couldn't choose between 2, and sorry, I don't know how to appropriately censor this next part, but let's just say, this guy engaged in some adult fun time, and chose the one that seemed to make him the happiest. I said something along the lines of, "That's gross as frick." He then said something like, "You would understand if you saw the butt," and then proceeded to send the picture he voted for via Snapchat. It was mine. I didn't tell him, but I now have to live with the knowledge that a good friend of mine had a very good time looking at a picture of my shaven butt. Oh no. How do people even get in these situations? Hey, at least now we know. Ever need a good butt? Go skating. Apparently that's a great method. To be honest, I don't know what to say about this one, so let's move on to the next one by user/air911. I drove my wife's van to work to save miles on the lease. I parked it and she had the keyless start, so I just left the keys right in the car. Who's gonna steal a car out of my work parking lot after all? Anyway, at lunch, I like to drive over to our other building that's down the street to play pool with some buddies. I did that, stayed for about 45 minutes, and headed back. But as I was driving back, I noticed that the car was pretty clean. And my wife's car is usually pretty messy. She must have cleaned it up, I thought. As I looked around to observe the rest of the newly cleaned auto, out of my peripheral, I caught a glimpse of something in the back seat. "What's that?" my brain said to me. I looked back, and it's a car seat. A car seat? My youngest is 7. We don't have a car seat. What's happening? And as the adrenaline rushes through my veins, I finally realize I'm in the wrong car. I got in a van that's the same color, year, make and model as my wife's, parked 3 spaces over from mine, and also left their keyless keys in their car. I just drove someone else's car away for 45 minutes. As I pull into the parking lot, I half expect there to be police waiting for me. I pray that the spot is still open, but of course it isn't. I find a spot that's relatively close. I have no choice but to confess my sins, so I go right to security and tell them what happened. The security girl bursts out laughing in my face, but tells me to give her the plate number and she'll email the person and tell them what happened. I never heard about it again from the car owner or security, but I told people at my work about it, and people still say, "Are you sure you got the right car?" and think they're the only ones to say it. That's it, you F up once and you'll be reminded about it your whole life. Your co-workers are never gonna live this one down. But hey, I guess if this person never noticed, no harm done, maybe just repeat it tomorrow. Maybe they'll mind. If eventually they notice, sure you'll work it out then. But that's a problem for another day. You can save a bit of money on gas in the meantime. Oh, and here's a nice funny little one by user/Victorious1. So, we were leaving on a trip a few months before. I work night shift, we were leaving as soon as I got home. I get home around 6 AM and then sleep in the car while my wife drives. This saves us a bunch of time. I remembered something I forgot to tell my 13-year-old son. He's the oldest of 4, so I text him, not even realizing that it's like 1 in the morning. Didn't think anything of it, but I get a call about an hour later from my wife. She's laughing so hard, she can hardly tell me what happened. My son got the text, but was so sleepy, he didn't even think about what the noise was. He assumed it was his alarm and got up to get ready. Well, he wakes up the other 3 and tells them it's time to go. So, he showers and gets ready. They all get up, get dressed, and get their luggage ready. He goes to get my wife and doesn't know why she's still in bed. She's always the first up. Then he looks at the clock, and it's like 2 AM. Then he sees my text and realizes it wasn't his alarm. I guess I'm lucky he's so responsible. And oh god, so awkward. I sort of feel bad for your son. Imagine how bad he would have felt when he'd realized he'd woken everyone up at 2 AM just for them to go back to sleep in a second. I mean, as you did say though, OP, it's a good thing he's this responsible, and it's better that than the whole family sleeping in and missing your flight. And here's our next one by user/Senderpen. Last Saturday, I woke up in the middle of the night. No big deal, but I immediately noticed something wrong with my left ear. I had no pain, but every few seconds, I would hear a loud crackling noise in my ear. I've experienced an earwax blocking before, but I had never heard this sound before. This made me concerned, so I tried Googling my symptoms, but to no avail. It's probably just an earwax blockage, right? I stuffed a cotton pad with olive oil in my ear to soften the earwax and returned to bed. After putting the cotton pad in my ear, the crackling sound stopped. But it was replaced with some soft ticking sounds. It made it hard to fall asleep, but eventually I managed to drift off. The next morning, the noises in my left ear had stopped. Great. But there was still wax in my ear, because I could hear it move when I put pressure on my ears. Over the course of the next days, I tried to remove the earwax myself. I put water in my ear, more cotton pads with olive oil, and I even tried to get it out with tweezers. I know I shouldn't have done that, but I was impatient and really wanted to just get the earwax out and be done with it. All these methods failed to get the earwax out until today. I was once again stupidly poking around with tweezers inside my ear when I finally managed to grab the earwax. Excited, I took it out and wanted to look at what my ear had just birthed. To my horror, the blockage in my left ear was not caused by earwax, but it was caused by what looked like a kind of tiny moth. This creature had somehow managed to climb into my ear at 2 a.m, caused me to wake up, and couldn't leave my ear because of the cotton pad I had stuffed inside. I'm still trying to process the fact that I had a dead moth in my ear for half a week. Ooh, that is unpleasant. Imagine a moth crawling into your ear, and then you shoving it inside and it dying in there. That's just, oh no. Don't even want to think about it. What if it had laid some eggs in there and they end up hatching or something? No, we ain't gonna be going there. I want to sleep without nightmares tonight. And here's our next post by user/SEPDOT. For context, I grew up in New Zealand and now live in Australia. I've always loved Mexican and American foods, and over the years, I've added quite a few recipes to my go-to list. One of those being chili. I'm definitely a fan of spice, and I always thought I could handle it. But all the recipes I found for chili ended up being mind-blowingly spicy. Like, tears running down my face, nose running, can't feel my tongue spicy. I do enjoy this level of spice from time to time, as the rush I get is like a drug. I just thought that's what chili powder was supposed to be like, as all the recipes I've tried called for a similar amount of chili powder. However, today, after finding a new recipe I wanted to try, I decided to actually read the blog post that came before it, instead of scrolling past it like I normally do. Today was the day that I realised that what we call chili powder with a double L is not what Americans call chili powder, this one with a single L. In New Zealand, chili powder is pure dried chilies. And here I was, thinking that the spelling difference was just an American English thing. I found out today that for the past 13 years, I've been loading my chili with about 50 times more ground chili than the recipe calls for. Wow, feels bad. How much spice would be in one of those things? I have definitely added too much chili powder, as in double L chili powder, to recipes before, and if you're just a little bit over, it goes to crazy levels of spice really quickly. I imagine these recipes call for a couple of tablespoons of this stuff. Oh my god. This person is beyond the realm of human existence. Also, another different question I have is the blog part of recipes. Does anyone actually read those? I swear people put so much time into them, and I for one almost always scroll past them, so if you read them, leave a comment down below. I'm actually kinda curious. And here's our next post by user/WEHAVEALEBEENTHERE. So, my brother's an officer and recently told me a story about a naked homeless man breaking into someone's home and taking a nap on their couch. So, obviously, the first thing that came to mind was to hide in his attic fully nude and wait for him to get home so I could give him a good scare. It took a lot longer than I expected, and I live in Texas, so attics aren't exactly a comfortable place to hang out. After about 30 minutes, I decided it was an awful idea to continue, and a safe idea to go get some water and clothes. On my way down the attic stairs, I heard a loud scream. It was his girlfriend, who I never heard get home. She said all she saw was bare bum, and thought it was a homeless man like my brother had just encountered. Not wanting to get shot, I immediately started yelling her name and identifying myself. She slapped me a few times and told me to leave. I'm sorry I can't help but buzz in. I hope she got you to put some clothes on before she got you to leave. Otherwise that would have been an even funnier sight. My brother wasn't too happy, but couldn't hide a smirk, as he told me I'm an idiot. And lucky, nothing bad had happened, which is true. So now, there's against a rule against me having keys to anybody's house. No, this one would be so awkward. I can get it, like doing it on your brother, innocent enough little trick. But how can you forget the girlfriend was part of the equation? Did you just think she'd suddenly disappear for a day? I mean, at least you could have warned her and coordinated with her. That would have made the prank a lot nicer. And guys, I think I'm going to end it here for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel for Reddit videos 3 times every single week. But with that said, that is it from me. I hope you all enjoyed, and all I want to do is see you all here next time. See you later, guys.